Showbiz Podcast. Get your entertainment fix.
Today, our guest is Justine Riddoch from Liverpool, known as Totally Tina, chatting to Nigel Clarkson on the Sans Showbiz Podcast.
Hello, Nige. How you doing?
I'm fine, yeah, great. It's great to have you on the show at Sans Showbiz Podcast as well. You've been so busy of late, haven't you? You've been all over Europe. I've been following you on the socials.
Oh, it's been absolutely crazy. Yeah, we do a lot of stories on Instagram, and then our wonderful marketing lady, Sharon from Glasshouse Promotions, she'll take like little snippets of it and she'll put it into a reel or a little post or something. So yes, I mean, right from the beginning of January, we never stopped. We were right away in Spain for like the first 5 days. And then we've done like loads and loads of theatres in the UK. I've been to Egypt twice and I've got married.
Wow, congratulations. Drummer. Brilliant. I didn't think you'd have time for that.
I can't sack the drummer now because he's my husband.
I was going to say drum roll, but I won't say that.
I love it.
Because you've got a great act, haven't you? Totally Tina's a fabulous show. It really is a fabulous show. And sadly, we lost Tina last year.
I know, it was such an awful shock. I mean, I knew that she wasn't well and that her health was degrading, but it's still a shock when somebody texts you saying Tina's gone. I was like, whoa. And we had 4 gigs that weekend. We were headlining a festival in Yorkshire called Glastonbury Budget. Great name for a festival.
Yeah.
And you couldn't have picked a more fitting weekend. We had the 3 theatres that we had on the Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And I made sure that before we started the show, that I didn't just start off with steamy windows in the way we normally do it.
Yeah.
I came forward from the curtains and explained who I was, in case people didn't know. And we did a speech for her, followed by a minute's worth of applause and a line of Simply the Best. And then we started the show. And there was not a dry eye in the house. And then Glastonbury Budget at the end with like 10,000 people in front of us, all with their earphones in their ear instead of the lighters. And it was very, very emotional. Yeah,
I was going to say, it'd be very emotional for yourself. I mean, to act and do the show and everything like that. Under those conditions, how did you cope with that?
It was, I think there's only twice, I think once when our wonderful Queen Elizabeth passed on, and we did a speech for that as well. And for Tina, I think that's the 2 times that I've nearly broken down on stage. I thought, I can't say this. I had to read everything from my phone because it was hard to memorize and it was just getting me too emotional.
Yeah.
But once we started the show, it was fine.
Yeah. So let's go back. We're going to go all the way back, Justine. In the early days, how did you get into the entertainment business?
Oh, I was 11. I was always quite loud in class and quite a bit of a show person in class in primary school anyway. And I did a couple of little plays in primary school, and I was in the nativity play. When I said I was in the nativity play, I didn't play any parts. I actually narrated the whole thing.
Right.
So right from the beginning, I liked learning lines. And I was 11 and I was walking past the library, and there was a wonderful teacher called Mrs. Rushton. I always say that she was my mentor.
Yeah.
And kept my feet on the ground whenever I was being a prima donna. And she was holding auditions for Annie the musical.
Yeah.
And as most people know that if they know me and what I look like, I had like dark brown, really, really tight curly hair, very, very short. My mum kept it short in case it lost its curls. So as I walked in, she just looked and went, oh my Lord, you just look like the character.
Yeah.
You sprayed your hair. Ginger. She said, can you sing? And I said, I'm not sure. I said, I can act. I've done acting before, but I'm not sure about singing. So
Brilliant.
Me and another girl sang a line from, I think it was We Are the World or something like that anyway. And she went, yes, you can sing. And immediately she gave me the part. So I got the bug for being on stage, full stop, from that section. But, I mean, I started doing it professionally when I was 18. I went to Whitley Bay Holiday. Well, first of all, I went to Aberystwyth Holiday Village. And then I went to Whitley Bay Holiday Park. And I did 2 summer seasons as, I suppose, what you call a red coat. We call them children's aunties when it's not in Butlins or Pontons. So that was how I started off. And then do you remember years ago we had a thing called the Enterprise Allowance Scheme?
Yeah, I do remember that. Yeah, I didn't apply for it myself, but there we go.
I walked up to this bank account and I spoke to this bank manager and said, hello, I would like to apply for the Enterprise Allowance Scheme. And he said, well, what business do you do? And I said, I'm a singer. And he went, okay. And he said, well, what do you do? And I said, why don't you come to the bar that I'm working at tonight and you can see what I do. And if you like what I do, then lend me the £1,000 so that I can start my business and buy some equipment. Brilliant. And he did. He came to the bar, he watched me sing, and he went, "You've got the loan." And I got the enterprise allowance scheme, which obviously you had to pay back to the government as you were working.
Yeah.
And I started up my own business, got some backing tracks, and I've been self-employed since then. So I was 18 when I went self-employed.
Wow.
And 19 when I put my first set of books in. Learned how to drive, and then the next minute I was on the Liverpool and the Northwest Circuit trapped on it for the next 15 years.
Yeah. Who influenced you in those days, then? I mean, musically wise, which artist did you really like?
To be honest, because I was working pubs and clubs and social clubs and wine bars and things like that, you had to be, what I was known as was the human jukebox. Every single week there'd be new karaoke tracks that would come out, and I'd go and get like whatever the tracks were for the week, and I'd learn the majority of what was on them because like a sponge, I just soaked up lyrics really, really easily.
Wow.
And I wanted to be as versatile as possible. So my genres spread over everything. My mum said to me, "You're in social clubs, you're going to have to learn some older songs." So she learned It's Only a Shanty in Old Shanty Town, Shine on Harvey Moon, all of Patsy Cline's stuff, rock and roll. There was everything. So the genres, people would be able to shout out, "Sing the Beatles, sing Motorhead, sing anyone." And I know at least one song of every single artist you could think of.
Wow.
So that's why we called myself the human jukebox, and I memorized lyrics really well. So I never really had one specific artist that I'd say, "Oh, I really love doing that." I liked doing the modern things because I was young at the time. I was only in my 20s.
Yeah.
And I was young and I wanted to do the modern things, but I knew that in the clubs, that's not what people necessarily wanted to hear. So there'd be a bit of Motown, there'd be some rock and roll, there'd be some beautiful ballads, there'd be stuff from Disney shows, there'd be all sorts of interesting things.
Yeah.
Even some of my favourites were The Lion Sleeps Tonight by Tightfit or the Tolkien's. And the other one was, because I used to try and do interesting ones in between the normal ones to like engage with the audience, and they go, "Whoa, I don't know this." And my favourite one, I think at the time, was I learned all the words to "The Devil Went Down to Georgia" by the Charlie Daniels Band, and I still know it to today.
How did you all get into then finally get to Tina Turner then? How did that show get underway?
Well, it sounds horrific, but because I was working on the circuit, I never had a chance, because really what I wanted to do was act. I wanted to go to radio, I wanted to go to school. But once you start earning money as a self-employed person, and every weekend you've got gigs in, whenever there's auditions that are for big musicals down in London, you don't go for them because you're always working. So I literally got trapped on the Northwest Circuit, earning a good living and self-employed, so it was good. Yeah. Buying houses and, sustaining myself. As they say, the house I live in, I bought it, and all that.
Brilliant.
But I never went for all of my dreams. And obviously, half the girls listening to this will know, boys get in the way of your dreams as well. "Oh, I love him, I can't do that." So boys got in the way as well, and also being on the circuit. They were the two things that hampered me. And eventually, I went for a couple of competitions. I think there was one called Pot of Gold. And if you remember Michael Barrymore's My Kind of Music. Yeah. Eventually, I thought, well, they were as myself. And eventually, I just thought, I give up. Okay. And a friend of mine said to me, "I've just heard this girl on the radio, and it just sounds like you when you put on your Aretha Franklin, Jocelyn Brown soul type voice." And I went, "Okay, that's interesting." So she said her name was Anastacia. Yeah. So I looked up Anastacia, and lo and behold, there's this blonde. I've got dark curly hair, and this long blonde, mature lady, because she was 3 years older than me at the time. And I thought, "Oh, this is interesting." And as soon as I heard her, I thought, "Whoa, that is almost like, well, that's like she's copied me." Yeah. Maybe she's been round to the Holy Rosary and exactly and decided to copy me. And I thought, wow, this is really, really similar. And I thought, she's funky and she's cool. And I thought, well, if I'm going to pretend to be somebody else, then that's a really good character. And I've been for Stars in the Rise as Cher, Alanis Morissette, a couple of different people, and never got through. And eventually I went for the audition, and immediately I got through to the TV section. Brill. And I even rang up Sony Music, I think it was at the time, and told them I was going to be on Stars in the Rise as Anastacia. Yeah. And I needed some video footage because MTV wasn't playing I'm Out of Love anymore, which was the song I was going to sing. And I needed to see how she moved so that I could copy it. And they didn't believe me, so I ended up having to sing down the phone to prove it to them. And she said, "Hang on a minute, let me put you back on speakerphone." So I put it on speakerphone. The next minute, I had the whole of Sony all cheer because they thought it
Brilliant.
was Anastacia.
Oh,
So
what a
that's how I
story.
started being a tribute.
Yeah, fantastic. I mean, you perfected all the moves as well of Tina Turner. Like you say, we've been watching a lot of videos, but do you get better as you go along?
It's strange because, I mean, the Anastacia thing, the voice, if you really think about Tina, it's, I'm out of love, set me free. And then you go, what's love got to do? Again,
Oh, my
it's a very
word.
similar croaky voice.
It's so good,
Which isn't
that,
my
isn't it?
voice.
So good.
That's not my voice at all. If I was, let me try and sing those songs again. We'll do What's Love Got to Do With. From the beginning, you must understand that the touch of your hand makes my pulse react. Now I'm a little bit croaky because I've been singing. But if you're Tina, you must understand that the touch of your hand makes my pulse react.
Oh,
You
my
hear
word. That is...
I've had to put on something to be that. And over the years, my voice is sort of, well, I suppose it's degraded to a degree because I don't have the falsetto that I used to. When you're doing that sort of impersonation, anybody will tell you, not just vocally, but physically. When I'm stood on stage, I knew that the voice merged from Anastacia to Tina, but it wasn't really my natural voice. And then I looked at Tina and I thought, hang on a minute, I've got to do so much more. Anastacia just stood there. This has got to be a show. This can't be just me in a pub or me in a social club.
Yeah.
This has to have dancers. Look at her concerts. Look at her costumes. Oh, my Lord, the way she moves. So everything that I do on stage, when I stand as I'm talking to people, I'm talking in the American accent because they don't want to hear me sound scouse. So that's really disappointing. So anyway, I talk in the American accent and I'm saying, well, when Tina did this and Tina did that. So I talk about Tina. So it's paying tribute to her. But as soon as I start singing the songs, then I merge into Tina mode with the shoulders and the movement and the facial expressions. And I can honestly say, it's completely alien to me, and I have to think about it all the time. And I drop my face sometimes. I'm thinking, no, stop being Tina, stop being Tina. Although I don't want to be an impersonator, there can only ever be one Tina Turner. I am not there to replace her. I'm there to remind people of how amazing she was. And at the same time, if they look and they remember Justine for bringing those memories back to her, then that's a bonus to me.
Yeah.
So it's really, really hard trying to emulate somebody else. I mean, other artists, for instance, Tom Jones holds his microphone in his left hand. So any Tom Jones artist, if you want to replicate that, you've got to learn how to move differently and accentuate with your right hand instead and hold the mic in the left. And sometimes it can be quite hard. And when you're on stage, you think, wow, every minuscule of my body here is being something else. It's alien to me. And it hurts because of it. Yeah. Tina's obviously didn't. She was being natural. But for me, vocally and physically wise, it's tough. It is tough.
Well, you've perfected it so well. I mean, the Totally Tina show is one of the best shows I've ever seen. It's really, really top notch, isn't it? It's really good. Who does all the costumes and who sorts all that out for the show? Is that yourself?
I think what it is that makes our show different, because we were on the circuit many, many years before the musical started, many years before mainstream tributes were in theatres full stop. You get the likes of Fleetwood Mac, Michael Jackson, ABBAs. You get them in theatres, but most theatres did not want tributes. And they wanted plays, and they wanted a good mixture of different shows. Yeah. And since COVID, obviously, of us all coming back, you can't turn a corner without a tribute being singing there. But we were one of the first ones that started off. And because I had this idea in my head, it had to be big. Now, you've got budgets. We haven't got the same budget that Tina had, or the same vans. Yeah. So we would drive our own vans. I would buy the costumes from solo work that I did, so that because the limited company wasn't making enough money, it just about covered the wages. Yeah. So I would struggle and buy as much as I could to make everything really, really visual. Any repairs, I had to do them myself. We have 20 dancers that work for the show, even though there's only 4 on a show. So as a result, you need to wash them every week because different girls have to wear them. Yeah. So I've still kept that. We don't have a costume department or a wardrobe department. We drive the vans ourselves. And year by year, as we've increased and we've improved, our costumes have improved, our wages have improved, our vehicles that we travel in improved. But we are a closed production. We do everything ourselves. We aren't bought out by a big company that's throwing loads of money at us. Yeah. So things like this podcasts and radio interviews and online magazines, all these type of things really help us sell up against the big players that have got deep pockets.
Yeah.
But we're the longest running Tina tribute in the UK. And I think, as far as I'm concerned, because I have seen a few others, and there's some great ones. There's some great friends of mine that do it. Karen Bello, she's got a great Tina. Bubsy Brown's fabulous, and Kenesha. Most of them do it sometimes solo, and some do it with a band now, but didn't used to. But when I look at ours is slick, and it changes every year. Costumes change. I think up different medleys of different songs that Tina performed over the years. I really, really research as hard as possible, so that when somebody comes to our show, they walk away going, whoa, I never expected that, and wow, I didn't know all that music. I don't even like Tina Turner, and oh my God, I was dancing and I knew them all. Yeah. And for us, I want us to really stand out amongst the crowd because it's so personal to us. Yeah, it means a lot to me.
It's a brilliant show. It really is. If I ever think of anybody doing Tina Turner, it's always you, because it's just a great, it's like you say, it's a proper show, isn't it? It's not just somebody turning up doing the songs. It's a proper show.
Oh, no. If you've ever been to a Tina concert, then she was putting on concerts of that gravity with that dynamic power. She was doing that well before anybody else was. Her dream was to perform like the Rolling Stones in front of a stadium. Yeah. I'm a little bit disappointed, to be honest with you, because Tina has held the record for the biggest solo artist concert audience in 4 years. She's in the Guinness Book of Records.
Wow.
No offense to Madonna, but she's just done a free. I wonder if the people in Rio, she had 186,000 people. I wonder if they all paid a ticket, because Madonna's just done it for free and just got something like 1.6 million people in front of her. So she's sort of beaten Tina's record, which I'm a little bit disappointed about. But I'm still going to say about Tina and holding the record, I'm guessing his were paid tickets.
Yeah, yeah.
So she wanted to work like that in front of concerts. So she's looking at her. She went from stages like us that we're working on with 2 dancers and musicians and different costumes. And she went from that to stadiums with massive sets and 4 dancers and extra musicians and transitions and video screens and bits of movies. So she really, really started making concerts very, very visual. Yeah. I mean, Michael Jackson during that period as well was also making his concerts really, really visual. But she took the technology that she had at her disposal at that point. I know that if Tina had carried on, if she'd have been everlasting young and she could have carried on performing, she would have definitely been the first person to do the zip wire across the stadium like Pink does it. So for me, even though we were on a stage like her earlier career when she first started as a solo artist, and she was doing the same. We've been to loads of the theatres that she performed on. Even though she was on a smaller stage and we're on that smaller stage, we try to create a concert feel from a smaller stage. And if she's got 18 people on stage, we've got 10. But my God, did we change costume? Well, in fact, we changed costume, me and my dancers, more than Tina did on the concerts. And it's to give those people a feeling of all the concerts she went to, not just one. Yeah. We're not a replica of one. We're a replica of a few little snippet pieces, and you'll see a few little bits of video reminding you of that. But the majority of it is a custom thing that I move and evolve every year so that it's a little bit different if we get people returning. Yeah.
You've won some awards along the way as well, haven't you? That proves that the show's fantastic.
We're very lucky. In 2030, Champions, the brand agency, created the National Tribute Music Awards, the NTMAs, and we were a very big show at the time, so they wanted to give us the accolade that we had. We were probably one of the most showy ones with the most cast on stage, although there'd been a lot of like Bee Gees tributes and Pink Floyd's that have been going much longer than us. Yeah. So we all applied for this award, and luckily, right up till, I'm looking at the awards in front of me now, from when it stopped around about 2018 or 19, I think it stopped. Yeah. And we've won everything every year. Wow. Every year we've won Best Sound and Lighting. Absolutely great. We've won the UK's #1, which they had to remove that title eventually because unless every Tina Turner decided to apply for it, you can't say who's the best. Right, yeah. So, but I mean, it sort of went on, how big your show was and how much you've spent and how many years you've been going and what it looks like, what visuals you use. So it wasn't just based on, oh, we're the only ones applied, so we won.
Yeah.
But we won Lifetime Achievement Awards and Best Female Artist, which I'm quite proud of, which is quite nice. Best Sound and Lighting, and we're very, very blessed to say. And we've also won another one called the NEA Awards, which is the National Entertainment Awards. We've only applied for it 2020 and 2021. It was remote on 1 year. And so we're lucky in that way that we've been given these awards. But
some going that, isn't it? Some going. I bet you have them all stuck up in. Do you have them all on the wall in one place in the house?
No, actually, they're really, really heavy. If you dropped one in your foot, you'd know it. We've got them. They're like big, massive. I don't know how to explain them. It's like it's like plastic, isn't it? What would you call it?
Like a cask.
An acrylic.
Yeah,
an acrylic. So imagine an A4 acrylic.
Wow.
It's about as thick as like a 50-pence piece. So, my God, if you drop them, it does not hurt, which I have done on occasion. So we've got them actually in front of our computers where we work at daytime when we're promoting the show, just to remind me that we're okay.
Yeah, it's great. You've been on the road a lot, though. I was mentioning before, you've been all around Europe, haven't you? You've been to... Well, loads
We've been
of
lucky
places.
enough, yeah. We've had Netherlands, Amsterdam, we've had Germany, we've had Cyprus. I work on a lot of cruise ships solo without my band and dancers as well.
Yeah.
So I've stopped at so many ports. I also do solo with TUI, a brand of hotels that they have called Sensatori. And I've been lucky enough for 12 years to be doing the ones in Mexico, Ibiza, Tenerife, Turkey, Egypt, all over the place. So some people see me just on my own sometimes without the band and without the dancers.
Yeah.
But I mean, band-wise, we've been really, really lucky. We had the ones that stick out in my mind are, and we're actually going back next year. It's in Davos in Switzerland, and it's in March, so it's completely covered in snow and everyone's skiing. We're halfway up a mountain, and we're stood on a stage outside in -10. It's unreal.
Oh, that's fantastic.
So we've done that one twice, and we're going back there next year. And we're very, very lucky to have a wonderful promoter called Alvaro from Planet Fame in Spain. And for the last 3 years, we do a week or we'll do 3 days. In fact, we just returned from doing 3 days in Zamora, Portugal, Bragança, and Torrevieja. That's where we were this weekend.
Great.
2 weeks ago, we were a week in Barcelona. It's a good way for me to practice estudiar my español. So, and we have about 50 dates for him per year, plus the 70 or 80 in the UK, plus all the solos with me and 2 dancers under the name Justine shows.
Fantastic. So busy. No wonder you must
busy.
keep fit doing all this work all the time then. There's no need to keep fit, is there really, if you're doing all that work?
Yeah, because people say, do you go to the gym? And I go, what? Have you seen what I do on stage? I'm not going to gym as well. So, I mean, I'm not very fit, to be honest with you. I drink full sugar.
Yeah.
And I eat far too much cheese and pizza. So, but I must be doing something enough. Just got married to my drummer. His name's Karen. So, I mean, I've known him since 2008 when he first joined the band, but we only got together in 2018. And then I said, well, 2019, do you want to try living together? And then we got locked down for 3 years.
Great.
So I had no choice.
Worked out well.
It worked out well.
Brilliant.
I got to fix the kitchen and everything.
You won't be going to the Co-op then at Manchester? You're not going to take a booking there?
Oh, well, no, maybe not.
No.
It'd be nice too, wouldn't it?
Oh, it would be nice, yeah. It's massive, but there's lots of delays going on.
I mean, the biggest ones that we do St. David's Hall in Cardiff and Glasgow Pavilion. They hold about 1,500 people. So we used to do the M&S Arena in Liverpool. It was the only venue that we had because the other bigger players from the other shows had taken all the theatres and we couldn't get our foot in the door.
Yeah.
And it's a shame because it's our hometown. And it's quite frustrating. But this year we were supposed to go back once again into the M&S Arena, but the little auditorium on the side. But the bigger show with the bigger, deeper pockets managed to get the actual arena, which I'm very proud for them because it's lovely to know that Tina's name is being shouted by anybody.
Yeah.
We've got a page. Well, I created a page called Tina's New Night, and I've got some amazing friends on there, Karen and Kanisha and Bupsy and Sass Brown and all these other tributes that keep Tina's name alive. we're on a little page together, and whenever we can't do a gig, or we've got clothes to get rid of, we all swap ideas and we swap things.
Yeah.
And it's lovely to see all the Tinas doing really, really well. Wonderful Alicia Paul Moses started off as a solo act, and then she went into What's Love Got to Do with It, the big player with the big pockets.
Yeah.
And then she ended up, because of that, getting her job in the musical in London. And we're so proud of her, we really are. So, I mean, part of it is a case of we want to keep Tina's name alive. But obviously, we're all artists in our own right. Bubsy's been on X Factor. And, it's a bittersweet thing, I think, because we love what we do. And we're so blessed and honoured to do what we do. But there's always, well, for me anyway, there's always a little tiny section that goes, I used to be called Justine and I do sing differently,
Yeah. Which is your favourite Tina Turner song then? Have you got a favourite?
Yeah, it sounds crazy, but the ones that I love the most are her covers. I mean, everybody adores Proud Mary. But when you're at the end of a 2-hour show and your feet are dying because you've got 5-inch heels on, Proud Mary is like, I really don't want to do this now, but I've got to. So for me, she did an amazing. Please, listeners, go and Google this now, these two songs. First one is by John Waite, and it's called Missing You. But if you put in Tina Turner Missing You in Amsterdam, and you'll find a beautiful version of it there. And the other one is her rendition of the Beatles, the song called Help. Do you remember? Help.
Yeah.
I need somebody help. Not just anybody. She doesn't sing it anything like that. When I was younger, so much younger than today. It's really, really slow. And it's mesmerizing and absolutely beautiful. So she's been doing that one for years and years and years. Yeah. I came across it a long time ago. Sometimes I put it in the set. It depends how strong my voice feels. Yeah. How many gigs I've done.
I can't get over when you start singing like that. It's just like unreal, isn't it? It's just Tina Turner.
Oh, it's weird because people say to me, oh my God, you just sound like her. And whenever I listen back to a Tina song, I always hear different inflections that I could have improved it a different way. Yeah. I suppose you're always, I don't want to be a person that's always looking for compliments and saying, oh, I wasn't very good then, and oh, please tell me I'm fabulous. It's not about that. It's not prima donna-ish. No. It's definitely more a case of wanting to perfect it. Yeah. But what I have discovered is the more I try to perfect it and the more I try to sound like her, the less I sound like me and the harder it is to remember my voice. And even just singing normal cabaret songs. I've got cabaret, my selection here. There's hundreds. Achy Breaky Heart, Ain't Nobody, Ain't No Mountain High Enough. All I Want for Christmas, Mariah Carey. All Right Now by Free. I don't even know whether I can sing any of them anymore because I just don't know whether the voice has changed. I think the 18 months for COVID and not singing, I did 10 lockdowns in my living room and my voice was perfect and strong on them. You can go and see them on YouTube. Just go to our YouTube channel, Totally Tina UK, and you'll find all the lockdown shows, and you can laugh at me behind my curtain. But to try and recreate them now, I think I'd find it quite tough. Yeah. I can do all the lower notes, and I can do all the chest belting notes, but it's just the oohs and the ahs really, really high, operatic, that I used to do that isn't the same. But I can sing any song as Tina Turner now. Yeah. So, what have we got there? Yeah, got the best of my love. Whoa, whoa.
Oh, it's brilliant.
Chain reaction. I'm in the middle of a chain reaction. I can sing anything as Tina now.
It's weird. It's great.
Happy birthday to you. Because I'm just used to doing it now.
Oh, that's brilliant. It really is. Right, we've got 3 questions. What we usually do at the end of the podcast, we ask the same 3 questions to each guest that we have on here at Sands. Are you ready for them? Nothing difficult, really.
I am actually. Well, another interview I did the other day, me and the DJ, they played 18 of Tenor songs, and we had to guess it by the intro. Luckily, I won. So that was quite interesting. So I'm up for this now. Come on.
Right, it's not too technical like that, I'll tell you now. It's just a question. Right, number 1, right. What's your favorite? Who was your favorite influencer as a kid then? An artist that shone out big and you thought...
I think the one that shone out for me was it was the phrasing, because I was always told to listen, like a jazz vocalist that I met, I was always told to listen to Frank Sinatra and Patsy Cline, and things like that. So you could listen to their phrasing. They'd be before the song or after the song, before the line when they're supposed to sing it.
Yeah.
But my main one for doing that, I think, is it's always going to be Aretha Franklin. Definitely Aretha Franklin.
Right, great. Question number 2 then. What's your favourite car? Do you drive? Obviously, you said you were driving around.
Well, over the years, can you imagine carrying all these costumes and equipment?
Yeah. It's not a truck, is it? Your favourite truck or something like that?
We've got a Mercedes-Benz Sprinter. Luckily, we've got a brand new one now. We used to be in an ex-police riot van that was converted into beds, and because we carry the dancers with us, me and Corin. So my favourite one would possibly be for a few seconds I had an Mazda MX-5.
Lovely.
The original ones with the blinky lights, like Knight Rider, where the lights come up and down. And I sprayed it metallic glitter purple.
Oh, my.
I destroyed this poor car. So Mazda MX-5, but I haven't managed to get into any high-end vehicles to let you know whether I like them or not. But our Mercedes Sprinter, which has microwave and a big massive double bed in it and loads of comfy seats. It's like first class on a plane. And I do actually love our Mercedes Sprinter. It's so gorgeous.
Excellent. That's a good question. Answered there. Question number 3, the final one. What is your favourite go-to snack? When you're on tour, if you fancy a nibble of something, you're a bit hungry, what do you go to?
Italiano. Spaghetti bolognese or carbonara.
Yeah.
Or 100% pasta. It's a good energy food. So for that and a fizzy pop.
A fizzy pop.
I won't say any brands.
No, you can. It doesn't matter.
Well, you can. There you go there. Coca-Cola.
We'll send a deal on to you, the sponsorship deal. That's it. That's what we're about. Been brilliant chatting to you. I could chat to you all day, Justine. It's really interesting. And it's such a fantastic show that we're talking about. Totally Tina. What we'll do, we put all the links back to you as well, on YouTube. And
that's wonderful. I'll get our marketing lady to share.
Yeah. We'll catch up soon, maybe in a year or so, and see what you're getting up to then.
Definitely. Well, if anybody wants to know any information about our show, you just have to go to our website, totallytina.co.uk. On there, we've got a very, very clever little diary. One diary is all the bands and all the theatres that we do. Another diary is the agent's full diary, which is everything that's in my phone. It's actually the things in my phone. So you'll see all the solos. Some shows say just Tina, which is me on my own, or me with 2 dancers.
Yeah.
And the other ones say Totally Tina, which is the band. But then you've got this really, really clever map. It's a little Google map. We've got one for just Tina and one for Totally Tina. It's got little tiny dots all around the UK. So if you see a theatre that's close to you, you can click on it and see when it's going to be.
That's great, isn't it? That's brilliant.
Even if you're on holiday, because in June we're in Madrid for 2 weeks. So if anyone's in Madrid, come and see us.
Excellent. What a great idea. No, I've not heard of anybody else doing that.
I think people have got onto it now,
yeah.
But the little map is really, really clever.
Yeah.
And obviously you've got us on Instagram and Facebook, all the same name on Twitter and everything.
Yeah.
Totally Tina UK. Or if you want to follow the solo show, it's just Tina UK.
Excellent. Well, I wish you all the very best for the rest of the year, because we're romping our way through it, aren't we, really? We're in May now.
Yeah, we really are. I know. I can't believe. I'm just waiting for when's summer starting?
Well, that's next week.
Barcelona was raining for 5 days.
Yeah, I know. It's been the same everywhere. We were in Lanzarote a couple of weeks ago, and it was terrible, to be honest, for 5 days, and windy. It's always windy there, though, isn't it? Anyway, all the best to you. Thanks for sparing the time to speak to us here at Sans Showbiz Podcast. And I wish you all the best and all the best of the band. Happy married life as well.
Oh, thank you very much. Well, don't forget to keep shaking your tail feather, honey. Because you are, let me say it, simply the best.
Thank you very much, Justine.
You're
all right.
Welcome. Bye-bye.
You take care. Bye now.
If you loved what you heard, make sure to hit subscribe on this podcast channel to never miss an episode. Stay connected and become part of the Sans Showbiz family by following us on our social media platforms. Your ticket to the heart of showbiz awaits every Monday. In the world of showbiz, there's always another story waiting to be told. See you next time.